What's up, good people? Welcome to another video. I'm Rob Stuart and I'm here to help you get your skin and your overall health back on track. In today's video, I want to give you guys a rundown on how to add carbs to your carnivore diet. So many people are trying to use a carnivore diet and a pretty strict one in order to heal their gut, heal their eczema, heal their dermatitis. Whatever autoimmune diseases are out there, people are turning to the carnivore diet. Problem is that many of you guys are ultra strict with it. You're doing the salt, you're doing the beef, you're doing the water, and maybe not too many other foods. And some of you guys are having amazing results, but some of you are not having the best results. Your daily poops are a little off. Your energy and your sleep might be a little bit off. You might be losing some strength in the weight room. And for many of you guys, adding a small bit of carbs might be the troubleshooting mechanism that can take your carnivore diet from to yes. First off, my friends, if you're enjoying this content, remember to subscribe, remember to share, remember to hit that notification bell, and leave all of your comments and questions down below. The amount of carbs and the carb choices that you choose to bring into your carnivore diet are of the utmost importance. Number one, you want to keep your overall carb intake at 100 grams per day, and that's total carbs per day, not net carbs. So 100 total grams of carbs per day at most. And generally, I go back and forth between a really deep ketogenic carnivore style diet and a carnivore diet that has pretty much right around 100 carbs, total carbs per day. I go back and forth based on the results that I'm trying to achieve and what my aesthetic and fitness goals are, plus whether I want to gain a little bit more muscle and gain a little bit more weight, or if I want to get a little bit more shredded, a little bit more lean. Also, any time that I feel even the least bit constipated on the carnivore diet, adding the right carbohydrates for me generally get things moving down there really quickly. Also, for many of you people who are experiencing some sort of lack of sleep, lack of hormonal stuff, your biomarkers are suffering on a carnivore diet, troubleshooting mechanism one is always, are you eating enough calories? Are you eating enough fat? Are you getting your macros where they need to be? And if you're not eating enough calories on a daily basis, you're gonna feel like crap. You're not gonna sleep well. You're not gonna have good mental acuity. You're not gonna have creativity. You're not gonna have a good mood because you're not getting the nutrients that you need. Under eating is not helpful. That's why for some people, adding the carbs in can make it a lot easier to get enough calories per day. And for me, personally, I like to have a little bit of different mouthfeel, different textures, a little variety from time to time. And by doing so and adding carbohydrates, it makes the diet more sustainable for me personally. Okay, so you guys know to keep your carbs at 100 grams of total per day or less, and the variety within there you'll have to experiment with. Some people will do good just adding like 30, 40 grams. Other people will do better getting closer to that 100 gram per day mark. Now, the types of carbs that you introduce into your diet are extremely important. They need to be low glycemic, and there's only one, and I'll get to this carbohydrate at the very end, that's not low glycemic by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a carnivore carb, so that kind of is cool. The easiest choice is to go with the low glycemic fruits and vegetables, mainly being from the fruit category. We're talking avocados, but those can be a trigger food for some people. That adds a little fiber, that adds a little bit of carbohydrate. Plums, pears, cucumbers, apples can work too if they're more of the heirloom variety. As far as green vegetables go, this is gonna help, but it's not a lot of calories. So things like lettuce and celery and bok choy, this can help the digestional stuff by adding just some easy digestible fiber. But again, this won't really accumulate many grams of carbs. And so if you're trying to stay on the lower end of the carbs, then things like lettuce, bok choy, celery will be really good. For me personally, when I add carbs to my carnivore diet, they come in the form of mushrooms, they come in the form of sweet potatoes, squash, and regular potatoes. Those work really good for me. I've tested those for over 8 years, and For not everyone, nightshades will work, but for me, sweet potatoes, squash, and regular potatoes, when I'm keeping my grams at or under 100, there's an obvious difference in my daily poops, but a lot of that is just the fiber and the carbohydrates moving through your body. Generally, and there's a video I put out a few weeks ago with Dr. Baker talking about the science behind this, but when you're eating a bioavailable food diet, which means it's food that your body can actually use and assimilate, the byproduct and the waste will not be as much as when you're eating plant foods. Plant foods are more for cleaning out, they're more for moving things out of your body, and the nutrients that we derive from them is not as high as animal foods. So when you're eating an animal food-based diet, you're going to poop less. You're going to poop hardly at all. You're going to have rabbit turds, and that's okay. That's pretty normal. What we're trying to avoid is bloating, bad gas, uncomfortable feelings, and checking in with your biomarkers. If your carnivore diet is not providing you with the biomarkers that are getting balanced and getting healthier and getting better, then really you're not gonna do too well. Carrot juice. I've been using carrot juice for a super long time, and it seems to be really awesome for me as an individual. It also comes in just a super easily digestible package. Carrot juice, super simple. Steamed carrots work really well for me. Baked carrots work really well for me. So some of the starches can do really good. Also, a lot of people can do well with zucchini. Zucchini is a super easy food to digest for most people, and you can add it to your carnivore diet. It helps the dishes have a little bit more well-rounded out flavor and mouthfeel, and zucchinis can simply just work really well. Okay, let me get into pretty much the only high glycemic food that seems to work really well for carnivore dieters. And it may be a coincidence, but it might not be, that honey, especially if it's raw and it's local, is working pretty good for people. I've had many people that I work with, including myself, where I can be fully carnivore and not really add any carbohydrates except kind of a little bit of honey, 2 to 3 tablespoons a day, sometimes a little bit more if I'm going more to that 100-gram mark. And it can really start to give me a lot of juice, a lot of energy, help my sleep, help my performance. It doesn't do a whole lot for digestion though. So if you're trying to add the carbs to improve your digestion on a carnivore diet, then honey is probably not going to work for you. But if you're a little low on energy, if you're not getting enough calories, if you just are feeling like you need some other nutrients, then honey, especially raw local honey, can be a good choice. You have to be ultra careful though with the honey, because you can get out of hand with it super, super easy. It tastes really wonderful. Also, when you're adding it to like tea, which is what I like to do, green tea, butter, and honey, you can start to get a little too out of control with the honey really fast. So if you're gonna use honey, be careful with the amounts that you are using. Make sure to monitor it. In any case, when you start to change your diet up, especially when you're going from a strict carnivore and adding carbs, use Chronometer for a little while to make sure that your macros, your calories, and your carb intake is exactly where it needs to be, and you're not doing guesswork. Because if you're doing guesswork, generally what happens is you don't eat enough calories, you don't eat enough fat, and you'll start eating way too many carbs, and then the whole thing will go to crap. A very light carbohydrate that I take in every single day is my Tumeric Lemonade. So most mornings, especially when I'm really focusing on cleaning up the diet and really focusing on cleaning out my body, it's an awesome idea to start out with Tumeric Lemonade. So it's just lemons squeezed into water, add a little turmeric, and you can stir that up. If you have the ability to add a little honey to that, you have the room in your carb intake to do that, that can also be a pretty awesome way to start your morning. But the lemon water isn't really super carbohydrate rich, but it is a plant food that really works well for me. It helps my digestion, it helps my autophagy, it helps my liver and my kidneys wake up in the morning and start to really flush and do their thing. So a little recap. Keep your carbs under 100 grams. Experiment with the amount of carbs that you're gonna intake with your carnivore diet. Some people will do better at a very low rate, and that's all you'll need to get the kind of adjustment that you need. And some people will do better with around 100 grams or under, depending on your situation. Stick to the low glycemic carbs always. The only non-low glycemic carb that really does kind of work for people is honey. Track your macros in the beginning with something like Chronometer so that you're not guessing. And first things first, if you're having issues on any diet, check in with your macros, especially the carnivore diet. Many people that I work with, many people that I talk to, one of the main things that screws them up is that they're not eating enough food. They're not eating near enough food. And if you do that, you're gonna feel like crap. Last point of the video, there is individualization to all of these things. Potatoes work for me, they might not work for you. I talked to Dr. Paul Saladino, the Carnivore MD. That interview will be coming out really soon. But me and him have a very similar idea on how to adjust the carnivore diet, ranging into more of a ketosis style, ranging more into a higher carb style. But for him, when he eats the sweet potatoes, they don't work for him. He has skin issues as well, and when he eats the sweet potatoes, it comes back. But obviously for me, the sweet potatoes, the squash, the regular potatoes work really awesome. So there's always gonna be some individualization to this. You have to do some experimentation and always read your biomarkers rather than looking at flare-ups in your skin to judge if you're having progress or not. I think I'm gonna end the video there, guys. This is a pretty straightforward process. If you have any questions, if you're confused at all, leave all your questions and comments down below. For those of you who are trying to get a hold of me to become a skin health client, there's a link in the description box for a consultation. All of my skin health offerings are at holistichealthactivation.com, including the 3-phase workbook. The new edition will be out May 1st, so keep your eye on that. On Instagram, you can find a lot of content from me there. Post pretty much 3 to 5 times a week. There, I'm Stuart, Rob Stuart. Again, links in the description box. Last announcement is there's links for Skinessa, and Skinessa is truly the only skin health probiotic that I think works. It's giving a lot of people great results. I take it every day. I love it. They're a great company. If you're looking to have some supplemental support, and really I don't really like any supplements at all except this one, it's down in the description box as well. You can pick it up. It works really well. All right, you guys, I'll be back with many more videos really soon. Peace.